Hey guys, what's up? Tamara here. Today I'm going to do a review of The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. This is my second time reading Jojo Moyes. I first read her several years ago when I read Me Before You, and I really enjoyed that, and since then I've been wanting to read more of her, and finally I am doing that. I have several books by her that are on my shelves ready to read, so I'll be reading I think 3 or 4 more books by her throughout the summer and through the fall. So if you're curious to see about the other books by Jojo Moyes, please check back to my channel often and see what I have coming up next. Also, if you want to check out what I thought of her book Me Before You, I'll have the link posted below, and you can also click here if you are on a desktop and you can go right to the video. Okay, so let's jump right into this one. The Last Letter from Your Lover is about Jennifer and Boot, and Boot is actually, his name is Anthony, but he goes by Boot because that is a nickname that Jennifer gave him early on in their relationship. And Boot is Jennifer's lover. This book starts off with Jennifer in a hospital, and she is recovering from a car accident of which she now has some sort of amnesia where she can't remember a good chunk of like recent history. So in that history includes Boot. When she awakens, her husband Lawrence is there. They go home, and she starts like living in this fog. She knows something is off. She can't tell what. No one is really telling her anything of any importance, and she feels like something is wrong and doesn't fit. Eventually she finds a letter signed B, and it's a love letter, and obviously that is Boot. And she goes on this mission to find out who B is, and she starts looking through her home and other places, and she finds more letters from her lover. And as she finds these letters, she starts to realize that she did indeed fall in love with someone other than her husband. And this whole time we are seeing Lawrence, her husband, in a different light. Like, he is not really that good of a guy. He's really rude to her, and he really treats her like she has no opinion and like she is dirt. And with that in mind, while it's never good to cheat, you can see why it wasn't that hard for her to be enamored with someone other than Lawrence, because he's not the business, let me just say. So the book, you know, we're introduced to Anthony through memories and through letters. So she is discovering her relationship with Boot in the same way that we, the reader, are. So, you know, it's all new to her and it's new to us. And I like that part of the story. Now, as far as, you know, like I said, I am in no way defending cheating or anything like that. But they really do have one of those picturesque type romances that you visualize when you watch movies about, you know, rainy London and going to Paris, the south of France, and, you know, they're in these different places, and they really connect. And, you know, he's kind of damaged, she's kind of damaged, and they just come together, but they don't stay together. You know, he's a reporter, and he wants to go off to Africa and, you know, do reports from the Congo, and she's scared to leave her husband. And that is, like, I think a product of the 1960s. You know, women really didn't get divorced in the 1960s. They were really dependent on their husbands. They were housewives. They were scared that the husbands would take their children, and how could they support their children without jobs and things like that. It was a whole different time, and Jennifer really was a victim of that circumstance until luckily something happens where she is able to get out of her relationship with her husband. I won't tell you what it is, but it's pretty clever. I give her that. Now, then, so, you know, we go back and forth, and we are hoping that Jennifer and Boot will reconnect at some point, but they're like two ships passing in the night. They can never really connect again. And 40 years later, we meet Ellie. She is a reporter at the newspaper, the same newspaper that Boot worked for, and she is a different type of woman as well. While she is not married, she is having an affair with a married man. So her lover is a married man. So it's kind of like a flip. So in the 1960s, married Jennifer is having an affair with a single man, and in 2003, single Ellie is having an affair with a married man. And it's interesting because while, like, I did feel some kind of sympathy toward Jennifer's situation, I had zero sympathy for Ellie's situation. She has a good job, she makes money, she has friends, you know, she is not stuck in any kind of situation. Why are you sleeping with this married man? You think you love him, but he treats you like crap. And it's like, I have no sympathy or empathy. I can't understand anything about Ellie. And that was my problem with Ellie's character. Like, I did not relate to her in any way, shape, or form. And I did think that it was good that when how their stories kind of converged is that Ellie, while working at the paper, comes across one of Jennifer's letters, and she wants to look into it further and find out why, you know, what happened to this couple. Did they get back together? Did they not? And it opens all kinds of I guess closets, and all kind of things come back from the past, and Ellie finds Jennifer, and they, you know, things just progress. Now, the good thing for Ellie is that in investigating what happened with this love letter, what happened with Jennifer and Boots and all of that, she starts to realize some things about her current situation. Does she want to be in this relationship? What does she want from this married man? And unfortunately for her, she's unable to figure that out for herself exactly. Something monumental happens that kind of flips the switch for her. She didn't flip the switch herself, but there was an action of someone else that made her realize, oh, maybe I don't want this after all. So, you know, again, her character, I mean, it's just some things lacking. Now, she does meet this other young guy who works at the newspaper with her, and obviously they like each other, and there could be something there. And I like that there is another option for her. I think that also pushes her toward the right direction instead of chasing after this married guy that's clearly going to never leave his wife. So with that said, you guys, I really enjoyed the story overall. I thought that the characters were interesting. They were dynamic. Jennifer in the 1960s is not the same Jennifer in 2003. Now, what I found that I had a problem with is when I first started the book, I feel like it was a little slow for me. It took about between 85 and 100 pages for me to really get into it. I think I had a hard time with the beginning because that was the period where Jennifer was really out of it. She didn't know what was what. She didn't know who she was, where she lived. She didn't know her friends. I mean, that point of her being like confused, like, I think that just went on longer than it should have. And while she never, I don't think, exactly recovered her full memory, I think that her heart remembered that she loved Boot. And that was the most important takeaway from it all. What would I rate the last letter from your lover? I would rate that 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Again, I did love that there were 2 time periods in this book. I liked that the women evolved in this book. I liked that the story evolved. I liked that there was closure at the end. I liked that it was a really quick read once I got into it. And I do recommend this. If you have read Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, or if you've read other things by Jojo Moyes and you've enjoyed them, you will surely enjoy this as well. And if you are new to her, this is a good place to start. And if you don't want to start here, you can start with Me Before You as well. They're both really good titles and I recommend them both. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, happy reading. Bye, guys.